So guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is the NWest Network. Like always, today we're going to talk about a product that I actually use on a regular basis, and this is the Soundcore AeroClips. Now, they are $129, which is very expensive, and when you compare them to another product that's $129, the Liberty 4 Pros, this might be ideal for some people that want an ear, but personally, I am a fan of clip earbuds. I do use the C40Is also, which are super comfortable, but I do feel like the AeroClips do a better job of holding in place when placed inside of your ear, and you do hear the music a lot better than the C40Is, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But more importantly, let's just talk a little bit about this headset. So back here we have the sync button, just in case you need to put the buds back in sync or reset the buds if they're inside the case. You do have USB-C, which has fast charging. 10 minutes of fast charge will give you 3 hours of listening time, so kind of keep that in mind. IPX4, so if you're splash, water resistant, sure, that'll work. But if you're trying to go swimming, just don't do it. And to be honest, who goes swimming with earbuds? That's kind of weird when you really think about it, unless you're doing underwater videos or something. The playtime for these buds are 8 hours. You get a total of 32 with the case, 8 hours inside the buds themselves. You do get the 12 millimeter customized drivers. They're titanium coated. You're not going to really notice that if you look at these earbuds, but I do think that they look nice and they look really sophisticated when you compare the previous model, which are the C40Is. Now, these are the AeroClips, like I said earlier. So if you know anything about the AeroFit 2s, you can tell that they kind of took that design and just took it to a different level of maximum comfort. To me, this looks like a premium device, and it feels pretty good in the ear too, which I was super surprised about that. I do want to also mention that it does pinch your ear a little bit more than the traditional C40Is. Bluetooth 5.4, you do have 4 microphones, you have multi-point, you don't have wireless charging at $130, which is kind of disappointing, but outside of that, it's not life or death for me. And again, for the people out there wondering, there's still the C30Is, there's still the C40Is, and now you just have the AeroClips, another addition to the family, so kind of keep that in mind. So, also, forgot to mention this, they also do have tap controls on these buds. Now, personally, I find it a lot easier to just use these buds and just pull out your phone or your watch or, you know, whatever you decide to use to communicate with the buds themselves, and it works out pretty well. And I gotta be honest, I can wear these all day and I have no issues whatsoever in my ears. Now, with that being said, we do need to talk about what these guys come with. I have the box right here in case anyone is wondering. And on the top left-hand corner, I believe it is, I have the spec sheet going back and forth so you guys can kind of read a little bit more about these earbuds. So right here, you have your booklets and things, which to be honest, I never unboxed the booklets. I already know how to use the buds. I had them for quite some time. They do use the Soundcore application itself, which is pretty simple to use. This is just a little cleaning guide right here inside of the box itself. And then you have the buds right here, which just shows you where the microphones are, the speakers, the back of it, and all that good stuff. And of course, the charging case itself. It explains to you how to wear the buds. Just in case anyone wants to go over this real fast, I'm just showing you guys how this is. And interesting enough, it does have these plastic clips that clip onto the back of the buds, just in case you feel like they're too tight. But realistically, if we're being completely honest here, I do think that most people are going to use these buds as is outside of the case without the actual clips. They fit me perfectly fine. My wife has small ears. They fit her perfectly fine. And she basically has no issues whatsoever. Now, you do have the touch controls, which I believe is customizable in the application itself. We'll go over that in a little bit. And right here, underneath this, you have the USB-C cable. Of course, I have so many at home, so I left it inside the box. And this right here is the actual clip pieces that go onto the back of the actual buds themselves. Let me show you that real fast in case you're wondering how that looks. So this is it right here. This is the back of it. It'll say R for right, L for left, different color coded. And what's interesting about these clips, and I'm glad they did this, because the last couple pairs of rubbers that came on the Soundcores were not that comfortable. But this one right here is soft rubber. Thank God they finally paid attention to the inside and the back of the ear. So all you really got to do is just place it on like so. I believe that's the way you do it. Did I get it correctly? Yeah, I did. And then boom, you have this soft silicone, I believe it's silicone or rubber on the back of it. And what this does is it stops the plastic from sliding across your skin. What I didn't notice initially when I first put these on is that I did feel like this might have scraped the inside of my ear because it grips a lot. Here, let me show you. See how loose this one is? right here on the C40Is, the AeroClips actually grip a little bit more inside of your ear, so it holds it in place. So for that person that's constantly scratching their ear or moving their hand back and forth, it's a possibility that you could have scraped your ear. I thought that would have happened with these buds, but it didn't. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. And, you know, surprisingly, they just work really well. Like Soundcore really outdid themselves in terms of comfort and feel. Now, quality of sound is something that we do need to talk about. And let's kind of go over that in the next sections coming up. But first, I'm going to show you guys how to actually sync these buds. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and unsync the buds first. We have the AeroClips right here. Unpair. There we go. As soon as you open up this case right here, what happens is if it's not automatically in sync mode, which normally it is when you disconnect, it'll automatically put itself in sync mode. You can just hold this button on the back right here for a couple seconds. And boom, now it is currently in sync mode. I'm going to go ahead and scan. You have AeroClips right here. Tap that. Bam, that fast, that easy. That is how you sync it. Now, multi-point works a little bit differently. You're going to have to go into the actual set. Matter of fact, since we're already here, let's show you that right now. You go to the Soundcore application, which again is absolutely free for anyone that is familiar with my videos. You already know it's free. And let's see, we're going to go to, here we go, connect. Remember, I disconnected and reconnected it, so it's going to go through this process. And when you hit this dual connections right here, you're going to tap connect new device. And what that does is it'll automatically put the buds in sync, even though they're still synced to my personal phone, the one I'm using for this review. It'll allow you to sync it to other devices. And then you have the option to manage which two devices you want this to sync to on a regular basis, because remember, it is multi-point. So you can connect multiple devices, but only two can switch simultaneously all the time. And this is how you manage that connection. Very simple, very easy. So if anyone has any questions, like always, I'll help you out there if I happen to see your comment. So using the application is very simple. We're going to go over that right now, and then we'll talk about all the cool stuff about this particular headset. Let's get this out of the way first. So you have sound effects, which I normally use mine on bass booster because it actually sounds pretty good with the 12mm drivers. It does have some nice bass. But of course, if you're using this on a regular basis, a train and things like that, you know, it doesn't do a good job of drowning out that noise because they're open ear headphones. They're not meant to drown out all the noise. If you're trying to kill noise, you're going to go ahead and get something like these guys over here. But since you're not trying to do that, this is what I use normally for just like every day, walking to the store, sitting inside the house, playing my games in general. I use it with my Steam Deck from time to time, things like that. And if I want that ANC and stuff, then obviously there's other headphones that you can purchase. But anyway, the sound effects are right here. You have Soundcore Signature, you have Volume Booster, Classical, Podcast, Tremble Booster, Bass Booster, and then you have a custom EQ, which is fully customizable right here, and depending on how you choose to use it. Of course, you know, to each their own. I don't actually have a custom EQ that I normally use. I just normally use Bass Booster, but if people out there have a particular one you want to share, leave a comment, and I'll definitely do videos talking about the different types of equalizer settings that these things have. Anyway, let's move on. You have the dual connection. I already showed you that. You have Find My Device, where it'll actually ring if you click this. So I'm going to show you right now. Okay. See? These are ringing right now as we speak. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause it. And if we try the left side, I believe the sound is exactly the same. Do that again. Yep. Now, what I will say is that certain Soundcore earbuds will allow the case to actually ring. I think this one has it where the case actually rings. But again, I'm not trying to throw those headphones in here. It's just that there's certain types of headphones that I use. I use these for the clips. I use the Liberty 4 Pros for just everyday usage. And then I use the AeroClips for, you know, whenever I decide to hook it up to my PC. I kind of just alternate for the reasons. Anywho, outside of that, if you go to the settings right here, let me move that out of the way. You have the auto power off, so if you have the earbuds in your ear for a certain amount of time and you forget to put them back in the case, you can have it a time setting where it'll cut off in 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half to 2 hours. Personally, since I leave my earphones on inside my ears and when I take them off, they go directly in the case, I'm pretty responsible like that. I don't really use this feature, so I don't really need it. So I just turn that off, but the option is there. You do have prompt tone. So every time you tap the screen, every time you do an option, with these buds, you can hear a tap tone. I leave it on because I don't really use the touchscreen aspect of these earbuds. It's not really for me. There's nothing wrong with the touch. It's very responsive, but like I said before, I'm more on hands and I prefer doing things with the actual physical phone when it comes to changing music and changing the volume up and down, or I just use my watch that I have on my wrist. You also have a low battery prompt. My suggestion is to keep that on because you may use these for a long period of time and not realize, oh, it's time to charge them. And again, they do have fast charging, like I mentioned earlier in this video, for the person out there wondering. So outside of that, this is the full application support right here. There's not much to it. Again, there's no transparency mode, there's no ANC mode, there's no talk aware mode. These are meant, like I said before, to be able to walk outside, sit inside the house, jog, exercise, things like that, and still be aware of all the surroundings that's happening in your actual life. So just keep that in mind. So if it sounds a little bit lackluster, that's because you're expecting more from a product and you got to understand what clips are actually meant to do. So when it comes to the quality of the music, got to be honest with you, I love these buds. Now they do sound very similar to the C40Is, but because of the placement inside the ears, how the clips actually grip the inside of your ears, so therefore the speaker more so sits in the same exact spot, I do feel like they did a better job with design overall, so you get more out of your musical experience. Now, when it comes to rock music, whether I'm listening to AC/DC, whether I'm listening to Judas Priest, whether I'm listening to Juice WRLD or Tekashi 6ix9ine or Trippie Redd or, Lamb of God. Is Lamb of God the name of the group? Or that, yeah, their name Lamb of God. The point is that I listen to a bunch of different songs from different genres, and really the consensus I got for these buds were they don't have incredible bass, and I don't expect that from them. Clip buds are meant to be able to just have maximum comfort while still giving you quality of sound, and they do execute that very well. But once you start comparing them to actual in-ear earbuds or something like the AeroClip 2s that are, have a lot more technology in them, then you're going to feel like they're a little bit lackluster, especially at that $130 price tag. Don't get me wrong, that is very expensive for earbuds. And when you go into that range, you're fighting the likes of the Galaxy Buds FE, you're fighting the Liberty 4 Pros, the Liberty 4s for that matter, and so many other buds, the A30s, the A40s, the, so many different earbuds out there that might sound better overall with quality of sound, and they cost less. You know what I mean? But again, if clip design is what you prefer, which is what I prefer. Now, I've met people that had cauliflower ear, or there might have been a little issues with their ear. They might have got damaged in an accident and things like that, and the clip sat better in their ear. So when I suggest these, it's more so for just everyday people, everyday use. If you have smaller ear canals, even my wife, which has super small ear canals, she loves these buds and says that the quality of music is really there. You only notice that it gets overpowered with loud noise if you're in a situation where there's people around you that's louder. Like again, a grocery store, if you're in a crowd, if you're walking outside, if you're going past cars and vehicles or construction and things like that, then you're going to notice the limitations of these buds. But if you're just in a nice office area, a quiet area, just minimal people talking to you, playing a game, watching a movie or something like that, these buds can keep you very enveloped in what you do. And trust me, my wife plays Palia. She watches Big Bang Theory, and when I keep these clips connected to my Steam Deck, I can honestly say that I can tone out the noise around me in that regard, but just enough for like one room. It's not going to, shut down an air conditioner or, anything like that. But I love the buds so far. They do work very well for me. And to be honest with you, they're my primary source of buds everywhere I go outside of catching a subway or regional rail, because I do want to block out people around me with ANC. And again, that's what the Liberty 4 Pros are for. So one of the questions I normally get asked is how do they fit, how do they feel, and how do you put them on? So I want to do a little comparison for you guys. This right here is the C40Is right here. They just slip right on without a problem, but if you notice, they go up and down on your ears unless you have that plastic on the back of it, which might have been a problem for certain people that use these buds. But with the AeroClips though, which is the guys right here, all you gotta do is just slip them on, or you can just open them up with your finger, however you decide to do that. And because the ball right here, which is where the speaker is, sits so closely, they don't really slide up and down as much on the ears as the other model that I just showed you. Let me just place the other side right here, and I'm pretty much good to go. They fit perfectly fine. For the person out there that may feel like the back of this is kind of scraping the back or the inside of their ear, all you have, well, not the back, but the back of your ear, all you have to do is just put those rubber covers that I showed you, or silicone covers that I showed you earlier in this video on these, and you should be perfectly fine. And like I said before, I love the way they feel, so much so to the point where I have them on for practically my entire shift at work. A lot of times I just walk around inside of the house. I have no issues whatsoever, no discomfort. There's no soreness. I was super surprised about that. And let me just kind of talk a little bit more about what the reason why I think the fit is going to work for a lot more people universally. Number one, when I first got these, this is obviously a review unit that was sent to me from Soundcore. And what ended up happening was when I first placed them on, they felt a little bit weird at first. So let me explain. The C40Is don't grip so much inside of your ears. These are much tighter than the C40Is, but they're also very loose where it doesn't feel like it's constricting or like stabbing the inside of your ear. So they did a really good job. You can tell that they actually tested these out and placed them in other people's ears and probably got feedback to make sure that it wasn't too tight. And I do appreciate that because I love these earbuds. But I did notice that the ball of this was kind of scraping the inside of my ear at first because I used to push them deep in and I thought that they were going to actually fall out at first, but they didn't. I didn't have that issue whatsoever. So after the first initial couple hours of wearing them, I was like, oh, I love the way these buds feel. But again, that price tag of $129, I was like, how am I going to convince people that this is worth buying? You know, just because I love it and I got them for free doesn't mean that everyone else is going to feel the same way. So I just started using them every day on a regular basis, walking to work, going home, different things like that, talking to people, just trying to test out the microphones to see the limits of how good these actually were. And I started noticing that I was just putting down most of my other earbuds and using these more and more on a regular basis. Every day that I'm at work, these buds, or just one inside of the ear, it's inside of my ear. When I'm having conversations with people, if I'm answering phone calls, if I have to call a state agency or do certain things, especially at work, I use them mostly for productivity. In addition to that, I use them, they're connected to my phone, which I'm using the A35 again to finish that 1 month review. And they work flawlessly. In addition to that, whether I use them for the laptop here, which I actually did sync them to the laptop after this video, and I used it for the multi-point for FL Studio and things like that, just to see how good the multi-point was, and everything just works. Soundcore does a really good job of just making everything work. You don't really ask for any much. I mean, the only thing that this is honestly missing, in my opinion, is probably just the wireless charging aspect. But outside of that, fit and feel is wonderful. No soreness, no burning in the ear. I didn't feel like they were going to slip when I did actually sweat in these. Like I exercised, did deep knee bends, running, jogging, things like that. They get a little drenched. And again, I didn't have any issues cleaning them whatsoever. I didn't get any soreness in the inside of my ear like so many other buds when you have to keep moving them back and forth and placing them in the same spot. I like the buds. Like I said, the only downside is that the maximum volume when compared to in-ear headphones like these, you know, it's a little lackluster. Obviously, it's not going to outpower those, but for everyone else that just loves clips, you may not want to spend $299 on some Bose clips. I think that this is a highly sought after alternative once you start using them. That's just my opinion. I like them a lot. So this right here is going to be a sound sample of the AeroClips. In case you're wondering, I am using the Samsung recording software. If you go into the settings itself, it actually allows you to use the available Bluetooth for recordings, and it'll let you know that it's using that sensor, well, not sensor, but the microphones when recording a section. So I am in a quiet area, state building, open area that you might hear an echo in the background. And this is how it's going to sound if you're having some form of recording or conversation in general. So just kind of keep that in mind. If this sounds clear to you, then it's going to sound good on a regular basis, though I will say it will pick up a lot of wind. It will pick up a lot of noise if you happen to be outside. So the question is, who are these buds for? Now, if we're just looking at the design of the buds themselves, I do feel like they look very premium when you compare them to AirPods, the Galaxy FE earbuds, and so many other brands out there. Now, $129 is very expensive. You can buy almost any other headset, AirPods amongst other things. So the question is, why would you pick Soundcore out of all of them? And if we're being honest here, this is more so for the person that just truly likes clip earbuds. I never used the Bose Comfort ones, and I probably never will because I don't believe that they're worth $300. I'm just going to be honest with you. No open ear headset is worth $300, and there's nothing that anyone can say to convince me that they are. But an alternative of $130 for the Soundcores aren't bad. Keep in mind the C30Is, which are a little tight and with fit, are still $69.99, and a lot of times they're on sale on Amazon. You have the C40Is, which are $99, which are normally on sale for like $20, $30 off normally. So you can get those. But for the person that wants that more aerial design, that's what they call aerial clips, I just think that this overall design is much, much better. I think the fit and feel of these buds are better than any not aerial clips, but any clip earbuds that I've used so far. And I've used quite a few of them that I reviewed on this channel. Not too many, maybe like 3 or 4 of them. But the point is that, you know, this one feels the most comfortable to me. It feels natural. It feels, you always know that it's in your ear because you do feel it inside of your ear, but you don't feel it scraping the inside of your ear or anything like that. So if you scratch your ear, if you adjust your ear, I feel like they did a really good job of just making an everyday headset where you can put these in and you're not going to just have discomfort at all on a regular basis. You have an 8-hour battery life. 24 hours inside the case, which gives you a total of 32 hours if you include the 8-hour battery life. They are IPX4, which is really good. The Soundcore brand works. They do have multi-point. They do have an equalizer that allows you to change the settings if you choose to. 12mm drivers are really good. And of course, if you still have your earbuds like these or others that have this type of design, it works perfectly fine. And again, they don't replace in-ears, in my opinion, in terms of quality of sound. This is more so of a lifestyle change, and I think that's the reason why so many people aren't too familiar with clip earbuds. But once you start using them and you get past the initial, oh, it seems weird to have them in my ear, I think that people are going to love the buds. But again, $129. But anyway, I do have a link in the description for anyone interested in the buds. I'm sure they're going to be on sale. I think you get a discount. I have to double check with that. But I'll have all that information in the actual settings. And worst case scenario, like I always say, they do go on sale on a regular basis. Soundcore, even their own website, puts headphones on sale on a regular basis. And I think that people are going to fall in love with them the same way that I did. Personally, I like the black pair better, but hey, beggars can't be, well, I'm not begging, but you know what I mean. They gave me these, so I'm not going to complain. Anyway, like and subscribe like always, guys. And I will see y'all in the next video. Till then, take care, be safe, peace.